Hello, I'm Dr. Andrea Horvath and I run Science Communication Gym. It's a training program for science types. And long ago, I really feared public speaking. I was so scared I couldn't read things. That was actually an advantage because it meant I had to speak from here and from here. And so it taught me some skills and some mindsets that are important to communication training. One of the top tips about communication is actually a mindset tip. If you have the mindset, whether you're a scientist, a practitioner, any sort of professional, if you have the mindset that it's a privilege to share what you know, that is really almost 90% of the way there. Because it means then you're thinking about the audience. You are framing your talk as to what the audience will take away. And that's the tip. Treat communication as a privilege. When you have that mindset, you immediately stand up straight and go, okay, I'm open to presenting this. I'm here now, I might as well deliver. And if you engage with the audience, immediately the physiotherapists will tell you if you improve your posture, you improve your lung function, oxygen, the whole well-being thing. So you metaphor the privilege of being there. You go, I'm here, I might as well start my talk. Now when you're focused on privilege, you're actually thinking more about the audience than you. So you're taking the focus off you, you're less nervous, and you're actually more worried about what are the audience going to walk away saying or thinking from my talk. How can I frame my talk so that the audience are kind of inspired about what I said and take it and tell others, which means your communication has worked. Because when someone tells someone, hey, I heard this the other day from this professional, then that's communication working. Another tip I have for you is a lot of professionals tell me, oh, I don't have time to study communications and these sorts of professional development things. Well, I suggest you study communications on the run, which means be inspired by other people's communications so you can be inspiring. So whenever you see a TV ad, or you go to a talk, or you see someone phrase something, or hear someone phrase something in a certain way, go, hey, that really worked, yeah, that resonated. I remember telling someone about that talk. Take from it. Be inspired by other people's communication styles. It may or may not fit with yours because you need to develop your own authentic voice, which is in you. Only you can do your communication voice. So that means you can be inspired so you can be inspiring. And that's that sort of ongoing professional development in communication that I really encourage with professionals who are very busy, either in their fields of research or service delivery. And I guess the third tip I have for you is something that comes from ancient wisdom, and that is Socrates and Aristotle said, good communication has three aspects. It comes from logos, ethos, and pathos. Now what that means, what you're saying is logical. There's a logos there. But you know, you can walk into a room and say something logical, but if you don't have a connection with the audience, if you're hunched up or if you're distracted by something and you're not there, then you haven't got a good connection, metaphorically, nor have you got a good connection if you're not referring to the audience. So the ethos is about your connection to the audience. Some of your favourite columnists will just establish that ethos almost in the first line as you read their columns in the newspaper. The third part of good communication is pathos, something that sort of hits the heartstrings. For instance, environmental messages are very important in today's climate and in reference to the future. There's a lot of science out there that says we have to be a bit careful about what we're doing. It's interesting that some of the messages could have a little bit more pathos, and we see them. Some of the environmental messages are, we need to clean up this pollution, we need to get on top of the carbon balances for our children's children. That message had a little bit of pathos. But you need to be doing the right types of messages in the right way for the right audiences. If you're a scientist, well, that's where logos is very important, but ethos is always important and pathos has its place. certainly in public communications to non-professionals or other professions that don't know your industry. In fact, Bill Clinton said, good communication has an emotional bullet. Now I want you to take the second tip you learned, be inspired, so you can be inspiring, and look for examples of logos, ethos, pathos, and I want you to take on board the privilege of your education being shared with others, and that's the privilege of communication as a mindset and hopefully as a skill set for your profession. Hi, I'm Dr. Andrea Horvath. I'm also the trainer for Science Communication Gym, which trains scientists in communication skills. I'm also a client of Kusal's. So I'm into communication, and one thing I was very aware of when I became a client of Kusal's is he does the right thing. When I arrive as a client, he is in the room focused on me, my problem and the future. But not only that, it's like he's glad he's there. He almost needs to have a cape flying behind him because he loves his job, and that passion comes across. It says, I'm here for you now and for your tomorrow. So that attentiveness is a really nice part of a communication style. It's like the ethos part of communications, which is establishing a connection with your audience. What also is great about Kusal's communication style is that there is logic and there's science behind what he's doing. And also the fact that, I guess with physiotherapy, sometimes you're experimenting as to what works and what doesn't work. So I'm let into the process of healing. I'm led into the process that we're trying this, or we're going to try this, or this has sometimes worked with other clients. So at all points during the consultation, I feel reassured that this guy's really out to help me solve the problem, but solve the problem beyond that into the future, which I think is the winning part of the communications. It's how also to look after myself once I've left the clinic. And that is invaluable because that is audience-focused client service. Oh, and one last thing. I think the reason people come back to Kusal as a client and why you get return visitations is because it's not just important what Kusal said, but how Kusal made them feel. So in other words, not just the logic of the information, but the focus and the relationship with the client, the connection, which is the ethos.